This is, excuse me,
A damn fine cup of coffee. Yeah. Alrighty. Yes. You should check out this music video for Damn Fine Cup of Coffee. It's, again, they take clips of Twin Peaks, of Agent Cooper, and, most of the time, like, the two scenes they do is the Damn Fine Cup of Coffee and the Treat Yourself Every Day to a Gift thing. But through most of it, it's basically they're playing Mary Poppins, where Dick Clark is dancing with the penguins. And there's a funny story with Dick Clark. Hold on. And apparently Dick Clark, and this is I was watching the Dick Cavett show, and he was talking about alcoholism. I didn't know Dick Van Dyke, excuse me. Dick Clark. Why do I say Dick Clark? Dick Van Dyke. This music video has Dick Van Dyke in it. One of the greatest American actors of all time. One of them, excuse me. I'm boasting. Welcome to Morning Coffee to James. I'm James, and this show that you're watching on Instagram, YouTube. Yes, I'm on YouTube, by the way. For all my YouTube followers, please come subscribe to my channel on YouTube.com. Why is my mouth not working? .com. Where I do movie reviews, I do sketch comedies, I do, things here, I do things there, I do, I talk about this, I talk about that, I talk about the dangers of the avocado, and how they're for hippies still. But anyhow, I also talk about politics too. I also talk about things that are going on in the world today. I talk about this, I talk about that, and I know people out there don't like my politics, but you know what, something? We have two animals out there. We have the elephant and we have the pachyderm. We have the pachyderm and we have the burrow. And I gotta just say, both of them are producing shit. Anyhow, let's talk about something. Oh, I want to talk about Dick Van Dyke. Apparently he was an alcoholic. And I'm kind of shocked by that. When you find out somebody's an alcoholic, you never know that. You never know that somebody has a drinking problem or a smoking problem. Like, I'm going to admit something, too. I had to stop smoking marijuana for a while. And I know people on there is like, well, you talk about guns and stuff like that. No. My problem was, I wasn't mixing the two. Never, ever would I mix the two. Because I believe when you're going to do something with, I believe when you're going to do, target shooting, you need to be sober at 100% capacity. Because anything can happen. So, and it's also alcohol, too. It's never, except for Texas. Apparently Texas, they can get drunk and then shoot guns, But one thing I will say, though, is that it's one of those things I'm really cautious about, too. I'm also very gun safety conscious. People talk about these people with firearms and stuff like that. These people with gun arms and, you've seen people shoot themselves by accident. There's a famous video of I forget who it was, but the guy was doing, a quick draw target shooting thing, and he explains it, but let me explain, what happened before I explain why he shot himself. So anyway, he's standing near the target, and he's ready to do a quick draw thing. He grabs the target, he grabs the holster, and then pulls it out, but accidentally shoots himself in the leg. But this dude takes it like a champ, shoots himself in the leg. Instead of screaming like a little bitch, he goes, "I just shot myself." And I actually watched the video of him explaining what happened, and apparently the holster that he was using, I don't have a good example. It's basically one of those mold out holsters, but it has a button where you press it and you can slide it out. But the problem is you have to press it hard. So when he pressed it hard, it was right near where the trigger was. So when he pulled it out, he accidentally pulled on the trigger. Which, alright, that's a good explanation. But on to Dick Van Dyke being an alcoholic. I never knew that. I never knew that about Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke has always been a cool cat to me. He is somebody who's just been, an icon to everybody. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey used the whole, headless act in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. The fact that, he was in Mary Poppins. The fact that, he was a Knight of the Museum. And, well, those are facts, but also, somebody who is like a great American actor, and like the fact that like when he was talking about being an alcoholic, he was like, "Look, I didn't have a drink in the morning. I wasn't a all day drinker. I was a come home after work and have a drink thing." And I think his thing was that it was just it was affecting his energy and his performance, which is reasonable. I mean, there was moments where I was like, not like I wouldn't consider myself an alcoholic, but I was bordering on having a problem. Like there have been moments I had like severe problems, but like depression. But then again, I don't see it as a disease. I don't think I had a disease. I just think I had another issue that I was covering up. Which honestly, that's the point of addiction. It's not about the disease. I'm so tired of hearing it's a disease. I was actually reading a bit of my my journal that my brother left behind that I now am filling in. And I looked at it. There are some points on addiction that people need to get to, and it's like the addiction is not the disease. The addiction is not a disease, but a need to comfort your own, emotions. Of like it basically, one of the texts says, it's not. Hold on, let me find it real quick. And it reads. Hence. There's nothing wrong with who I am, but rather how I am. Meaning that how you're feeling is what you're really hiding. It's like, I'm sad, so I'm going to just cover it with anything I can crunch that void in. And that's what, like, people talk about, like, you need to stop. Like, the problem is not the food. The problem is not us eating it. And anybody, like, for example, anybody can have a drink. Anybody can have, a smoke. Anybody can have, like, and I especially was watching a Joe Rogan where he was talking to a drug expert, like a drug expert, and he goes, no, people don't just straight up get addicted to heroin. There has to be, like, you can just, like, the withdrawals are not that bad. Like, yes, it's going to be like an illness, but you can get physically dependent on it. That's the worst part. The worst part is just that it's not a mental thing, that people need to get over that. The thing about it is that, why are you using it? Like, it's who you are, like, how you're feeling. Like, people use, like, hard drugs because it's like they don't like the way they feel. They don't like the way they're dealing with shit. It's like, depression is kind of and it's usually resorts down to one thing, depression. You can't blame the drug for, and I hate this argument, too, because there was a guy named Razorfist, and he was talking about this. He was like, people who make the argument they want to legalize drugs, they just want to do drugs. No, I don't want to do drugs, Razor. I don't want to do drugs. It's like, this is why I get annoyed with your fucking party of fucking not retards. You're not all retards. This party of the Republicans, because you think, and I get it too. Like, you're right about the cartels. We should go after them with force, not try to take their business away, but with force. They're still, and here's the funny part. He's right. They're still like trafficking marijuana. The difference being is that we're growing it from we're buying it from legal people. They're not. And I'm tired of this whole argument that you just want to do drugs. It's like, you know what, Razor? I'm sorry, but not everybody wants to go out hunting or wants to do what you like to do, all right? If everybody did, you wouldn't have fun. That's why it makes it unique for you. And Ted Nugent, I'm sorry, but people like smoking marijuana, and it's not dope. Heroin is dope. So shut the fuck up, boy. Excuse me, sir, you're not a boy. I'm sorry. Ted Nugent, I love you, but goddamn, man. Goddamn. And by the way, and to settle this thing out, Tommy Chong, the reason why people carry a gun? Because life is still dangerous. It's not about paranoia. It's about life being dangerous. And this is why I carry a gun and a knife. Because I can use a knife as a tool, but I know what a gun is. It's a weapon, okay? It's like, and yes, it is a tool, but tools you can have multiple purposes. For example, I can use a hammer to nail something, or I can use it to destroy something. I can use a screwdriver to destroy something. I can use it to pry something, but also screw something. It's that simple. Okay, Dick Van Dyke drugs, but I know I shouldn't be. I'm talking about drug addiction and stuff like that, but like that's how I feel about this. It's like if you want to really fight the war on drugs, I think we should fight it with full force. I mean, we shouldn't fight we should be fighting the war on terror, but honestly, if we want to fight the war on terror, we need to fight the cartels down south. We need to go after them with full force. We got to get in contact with the Mexican government and just cut these guys' heads off. Like, these guys, again, and I agree with him on this, we need to go after these guys with force. I mean, I do want to legalize marijuana, but everybody sees it as a big problem, and I'm like, yo, like, I disagree with you tenfold, Rageaholic. It's like, good, you're angry. It's like, you're just an edge. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I was about to say you're just an edgelord. You're more than just an edgelord, but, like, yo, my amigo, I have to disagree with you on a lot of things, though. It's like, I love you, man. Don't get me wrong. I love you, Razor Fist. You know, God fucking speed to you, sir. God fucking speed to you, but Jesus Christ, man, just stop. Stop for a fucking second. Alright? I'm not asking you to smoke weed. I'm asking you to let me do it. Alright? Just let me do it. Let people who want to do it, okay? Chachi? Chachi? He's probably going to watch this and he's going to rip me a new asshole. But this asshole right here, wearing a blue robe and a fucking... still living with his parents? Well, fuck you. I used to live with my brother, but he's dead, asshole. So try me. Try me. And by the way, I will never move to Arizona. I'm moving to fucking Montana if I want to move to a red state. Or, hell, I'll move down south where it's warmer. Maybe Texas, because I don't know. Well, no, Montana would be cooler because after playing Far Cry 5, yeah, I think I want to move to Montana. But let me okay, enough about you, Razor. But then again, I don't hate Republicans. I like them, but sometimes they just get a little bit too stiff for me, and sometimes when rallying with them against the libtards, I'm like, yeah, and I'm talking about the libtards, not the liberals, not the classical liberals, which most of you are. You guys who are in the center, who are center to left, you're cool. You're the classical liberals. You see yourself as Democrats and see yourself as classical liberals, and you guys see the problem with the party itself. That's not who I hate. It's those far left, progressive, communist, socialist bastards. And I got granted, I was talking to a friend of mine, Kevin, I'll call him K-Bro. He was, we were having a drink out there, and one of a candidate was coming up to us, which I'm going to support. Might try to switch my party real quick from Republican to Democrat to vote for her, by the name of Adrienne Red. R-E-E-D, and she is the coolest candidate I've ever met. Fun, energetic, and also very open-minded. And what I mean by that is that she's not, and I explained to her about this, I was like, she explained herself, she's not liberal, she's not progressive liberal, she is, I think, yeah, she is Democrat, but she's on the one side, like, she's very... Like, she understands, like, she does guns, she does hunt, she does, in a sense, she's a combat hippie. Peace, love, and firearms. Which, honestly, we need more of those guys, you know? We need the peace, love, and firearm guys, like David Lee Roth. Alright. But where were we at? What was I talking about? Drug addiction, alcoholism. Alcoholism is a very strange beast to begin with, and... luckily, that is something I never, and again, this is why people, like, I never drank that much or never found drinking to be enjoyable. I will have a drink or two or get to a point where I get, like, if some, like, again, when my friend K-Bro invited me to have a drink with him, I didn't get to the point of just belligerently drunk and waking up 5 in the morning and, waking up at noon and just hungover. I had a headache the next day, but, like, I don't find it enjoyable. Like, after there's a story I will tell later down the road of me drinking to an excess and blacking out. When I first blacked out, that's when I knew I was like, nah, drinking is not for me. And then again, like, smoking, had to become a substitute for that, but I feel like, that is something I'm not really dependent on. Like, there's no point where I want a joint or anything like that, or a blunt or a Bullsworth, or anything like that. And also, there's other things I'm fighting too, but find a good, find a good thing to like and enjoy that's not on your health risk. I mean, I like video games. That's my thing. I love video games. I want to go back to hunting again. I want to go target shooting again when Clayton's opens the fuck up again. But due to coronavirus, oh my god, we're gonna die from germs. Alright. And yeah, well, you can tell how I feel about that and all that shit. But it's just how things are kind of progressing nowadays. You know what I mean? But I want to talk about something that's more important. Not more important, but a thing that I just kind of noticed with Robert Patterson when I was talking to him previously about previously, and the news was cycling around that he didn't want to work out for the Batman movie. And something I've been noticing, again, something that's been prevalent in most Hollywood movies nowadays, is that you have some of these guys who are demasculating, society, and this is a clear point of this. So in Matt Reeves, so basically, if you didn't know, there was what's his face? What's his damn face? Robert Patterson. I forgot his name. I was like, yeah, I was just talking to him. Robert Patterson was talking about training for the Batman, and he was talking about not wanting to lift weights. Now, I didn't read into this much, and I didn't do I just reacted to it. So, my thing about this is that, so apparently, and I was watching Midnight's Edge video on it, and I kind of got an idea that maybe he said that to spark controversy, to get people talking, because he was comparing himself to James Dean. Now, keep that in mind. When he was talking about lifting weights for Batman, he goes, he was talking about how it sets a standard for every other actor. It's like, every other actor has to do this, and everybody else has to lift weights and do this. And I think no, because James Dean didn't have to lift weights, and the guys from the 70s didn't lift weights either. They just went on their own bravado. And it's like, okay, Robert, and I know what they were trying to do here. They were trying to promote him as a good actor, because he's also doing another movie called The Tenant, directed by Christopher Nolan, and they're trying to show him as a good actor. Which, honestly, if you the movie I do want to see him in is The Lighthouse, and I heard he was really good in that. But, but that whole thing, I think, was just trying to spark him up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, say, oh look, this is look, he's James Dean, and James Dean didn't have to work out, nor did the guys from the 70s. Here's my thing, though. If you've ever read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, and Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about it in his book called Total Recall, the 70s guys did work out, especially Clint Eastwood. They didn't lift. They weren't the size of say. Of Schwarzenegger, because Schwarzenegger was a bodybuilder, and he was trying to look like a Greek statue. And yes, most of the guys back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, the bodybuilders back then were trying to be like Greek statues. They weren't trying to be super mutants nowadays. They were trying to be Greek statues. They were trying to be gods, not monsters. And, and by the way, Clint Eastwood worked out. And yes, the strength came from their own bravado. A lot of those guys, had strength to begin with, that inner strength to begin with, but they weren't, they weren't built. It was until Schwarzenegger came along and changed the game and said, no, if you want, that was the standard that it came after that. Action heroes needed to be physically fit as well as internally fit. And now they're kind of destroying that. And it's more confirmed with Matt Reeves when he was talking about what he wanted for his Batman. He didn't want a more masculine Batman. He wanted a demasculine Batman. Which, that pisses me off, because apparently the actress who's playing Catwoman is working out 5 times a week. Why? The fudge. This is why I think Ben Affleck was the best Batman, and I know people out there, well, Christian Bale was the best No. Christian Bale is a great Batman, but if you want to talk about comic accurate Batman, or a Batman that's close to comic accurate, Ben Affleck, at least he put on the muscle. Yeah, he did steroids. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry, but we're so upset when somebody does steroids. If they're doing it for a sporting, I'm sorry, but you really don't need steroids to get that big. I say 36 eggs a day is a good alternative. Trust me, it works. But when and especially I love Ben Affleck's Batman because he was kind of close to the original animated series Batman. But to not pack on muscle, it's like, this is the demasculation of America. You're using cinema to do that, and now you're using superheroes. And this is where I'm going to give credit to Henry Cavill. The dude was a very skinny man. And it's not until he decided to do, Man of Steel, he got jacked. And you know what, something? That's part of acting, by the way, Robert. And I know you were trying to say that, and I know they were, trying to promote you, trying to, get you to be, show you that you were a good actor and you're beyond Twilight. Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill actually committed to the role and got work and physically went fit. And especially if you're Ben Affleck being Batman, Batman's not a skinny, twink. He's not a Twinkie boy. He is a beef man. He is a man. M-A-N, man. That's why it's called Batman and not Bat Twink. Batman is physically fit for a reason. He has to fight criminals that are, 10 times stronger than he is. He is doing very athletic things. The fact that he has to, keep his body in condition. It's also, there's an inspirational thing, too, to watch, guys like Henry Cavill and, all these, and this is what I loved about the DCU. These guys were committed to the role. They had to change their body shape. Everybody commented, and especially Christian Bale, which I'm going to mention because Christian Bale, changed his body. He went from being, anorexically skinny for, the Mechanic, and then he got packed on muscle for Batman Begins. And then he gained a lot of weight for the Chaney movie. Vice, that's what it's called. Don't give me that bullshit that, James Dean didn't have to fucking pack on weight. James Dean probably did work out. But, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, that was a very taboo subject. There was a stigma behind it that these guys were just dumb muscleheads in gyms. These were just guys in dark dungeons. If you've ever watched the documentary about the documentary of Pumping Iron, that's how people saw it, as a freak show. It wasn't until Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, and all those guys came about, and Frank Columbo, they changed the face of fitness forever, because after that, when that movie came out, it changed the face, because these guys had personality. These guys had lives. They had families. They had homes. These guys were professors. Yes, did some of them, did happily ever after ended for them? No, not really. But for the most part, they were just everyday guys. But the difference is they were bodybuilders. Oh my God, you're eating this or eating that. It's yes, these guys are, in a sense, and I'm gonna quote the guy who I remember the guy who says it, but I don't know who it is. It's the guy who wears the suit that has the question marks and the exclamation points, and he's trying to save you money from the government. And he talked about everybody is an artist, but you have to find what kind of materials you use. Is it through camera? Is it through paints? Is it through clays? Is it through photography? Is it through drawings? Yes, I have a drawing up on my screen, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's and it helps me too. So it kind of bugs me in that sense that even I know what he was trying to do, and I know WB is telling him to say this too, and they're trying to get people talking. I just think it's silly that you're not going to be working out. The Catwoman actress is going to work out, but you're not going to work out? Excuse me, bucko, but Batman ain't a soy boy, man. I know you want to compare yourself to James Dean, but hell, even if James Dean was going to be a superhero, he would have to pack on muscle. Or maybe not, maybe so, I don't know. But man, it's just, I don't know. I just find it to be stupid when an actor says shit like that, and especially when a studio does, because now you're just telling me that you want to get rid of masculinity, and you want to compare yourself to the 70s guys. Fuck you. You're not the 70s guys. Even the 70s guys would just look at you and call you a twink. Like Robert, like, I know you're trying to break away from the the Twilight role, but at least, like, put some effort into to do so. Like, to get away from that. Like, if you really want to get away from that, I say lift some weights. Like, the reason why, like, we love Batman is the fact that he's committed to being a superhero. This guy chose to be the hero, chose to be the knight. In a sense, the Dark Knight. You know? And especially, and I'm going to go back to Henry Cavill, because now he's playing a video game character. Well, excuse me, a book character. It was a book character, then it was a video game character. Now it's a cinematic character. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's like, at least Henry Cavill stuck with it. And he looks like he never stopped lifting weights. I think he just got addicted to it, and he was just like, no, I like the way I look. And you know what? He's one of the best Supermans in my mind. Like, yes, there's Christopher Reeves, but... You know, again, I don't want anybody, and then this is the thing too, I'm gonna say, like, guys like Schwarzenegger, Frank Columbo, and Lou Ferrigno were trying to look like Greek statues. Today's bodybuilders want to look like fucking super mutants from Fallout 4 and 5, and excuse me, they all want to look like the super mutants from Fallout. You know, yes, big muscles, but just ugly looking, with bulbous stomachs. And yeah, I respect bodybuilders, but not those bodybuilders. I respect the commitment they make, but some of the bodybuilding thing just looks ugly to me. Like, especially when they put on the spray tan shit, because it's like, why don't you just cover yourself in green and just get hooks around around your mouth and just scream, "I will find you, the master's race." It's like, if anybody's played Fallout, if anybody knows what the fuck I'm talking about, please, thank you. Thank you for playing Fallout. And for those who don't, go play Fallout. It's a really great game series. But no, it's just one of those things that just bugs the shit out of me. It's like, a really great actor has to commit to the role, and they change their body appearance for that role. Why the hell not, Robert? And I know WB is making you do that. And I know they were probably like, dude, you better be lifting weights or we're going to come after you with a shitstorm. And again, it's also Matt Reeves who's just like, I don't want a masculine Batman. It's like, this is why, like, I'm pissed off with the mainstream media, because they don't like men. Like, what, no masculinity anymore? No femininity anymore? It's like, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. America is so, like, we traded one, group, who wants to, get rid of masculinity and what makes us human beings and sexuality and this and that and femininity and all this for another group of people who are doing the same thing but in a different name for progress and healing. I say this is why you need to be like John Milius. You need to be the counterculture to the counterculture. If everybody's saying that we need to be demasculinated and no more femininity and, we need the SJWs, everything be ruined by them, I say we fight back. And I'm tired of everybody just kowtowing and saying, oh, we can't be rude or mean. No. If you want to be rude and mean back to me, that's what you're going to get. In the words of Joaquin Phoenix, you get what you motherfucking deserve. And then you blow Franklin Murray's head off. And then you do a little dance. I love that movie. I love Joker. That was a great movie. But, oh yeah, and by the way, even Joaquin Phoenix had to get super skinny for that movie. You know what his diet was? An apple a day. I shit you not. An apple a day. And cigarettes, too, so. And that dude was terrifying in that movie. But it just bugs the shit out of me. Because it's just like, again, I know I'm like, why am I so passionate about it? Because I'm going to make a video later down the road, which I think I'll make that my next video. How video games got me into shape. That's your preview for it. And I'm not going to mention a lot about it, but it's a long story. But let's just say I thank one person for this, and his name is Big Boss. But I like to call him Snake. So, that being said, I think I've talked long enough. I'm 30 seconds in, and there's going to be some editing. I cannot wait. I'm going to get a memory card tonight, so for my camera, so I'm not going to be super duper long with this anymore, and I'm going to be more HD. So hopefully I'm going to be good. So all right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care, love you, and bye-bye. And remember, to just take it easy. And I know I got excited about this, but honestly, I'm passionate about this. God damn it. Not just about fitness, not just about film, but both of them. I'm an artist, damn it. We're artists. We can't compare ourselves to regular people. Take care now. Remember, you got the touch, and you got the power. Later.